Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Dr. K Speaks. We have entered a new dimension in time. We are being called to evolve, transform. Join us.
I was thinking about or remembering how we started our spiritual journey or our walk together. It started with a book.
Yes, Wayne Dyer.
Wayne Dyer.
Will you, when you believe it, you'll see it, or
Yes.
you'll see it when you believe it, or something like that.
It's the other one. The first one you said.
When you believe it, you'll see it.
Yes.
Yeah, you called me and you told me about the book.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was on welfare, but guess what I did?
What?
I scraped up all the little money I had, and I spent my last money on that book. It might have been $12 and something.
What made you get the book? I was just sharing it with you. I was like, "Oh, I got this book. It's so good." Did I read a passage out of it?
You probably did. And what you were talking about in the book was so awesome, and your excitement of it just got me hyped up, and I wanted that book.
Yeah.
And so I walked down to the store. I forgot what the name of the store was because CVS
it was a
wasn't back
drugstore.
then.
It was Rite Aid.
Okay, it was the Rite Aid. Yep, I went down there and they had the book.
Yeah.
And I was so excited. And I had like dollars and all kinds of coins and everything. And I got that book. And then remember what happened after that? We would be on the phone talking to each other. So I had a phone that was one of those cordless phones, and Goddess and I would be talking on the phone about the book because we were reading it together.
Yeah.
And we would talk about it, and it would be 2-3 hours, and then my phone would die, and then it kept dying.
And she would charge it up and then call me back. I'm going to call you back in 2 hours. And then we'll read the book. I think one time we stayed on the phone for like 5 hours.
Oh, man, that was just, wow, that was everything.
Yeah.
I loved that book.
And that was like the beginning. It was we had
it was the beginning
insatiable
of our
appetite
journey. Yes.
to learn more and more and more spiritually.
Absolutely.
And then we started meditating.
Yes.
You know, when you would say you'll see it when you believe it. You know, that was very powerful. Because I realized that some of our issues were that we didn't believe. You know, it was like you were saying, you believed in struggle.
Yes.
So when you believed in that you could be rich and you could travel all over the world, then that's when you was able to see it. Because you believed it and we believed it for each other.
Yes.
And that was the masterminding.
Yes, absolutely. And then I could take it even in a different direction where I was believing that I was so poor and didn't have money to do certain things because I used to do stuff like this. So mind you, I'm on welfare, and welfare only gives you a little bit of like food stamps, a little money, whatever, right? And so I would use my toothpaste until it was like really, really almost gone. And I cut the end of it and open it up and get my toothbrush and scrape it in there and brush my teeth like that. And then with the deodorant, when the deodorant was almost gone, I would pull the thing up out of there or be digging in there and putting the deodorant on under my arm. And I used to be thinking about every time I was doing stuff like that, how broke I was and how I didn't have any money to do certain things, right? But then I think it was through our conversations, what I had realized is that I did have money, but I was choosing to spend that money on other things. Like every now and then I'd take my kids to the dollar show, right? So the money would go there to the dollar show. And before we went to the dollar show, it was the real food stamps back in the day. It wasn't the EBT card. It was the real food stamps. And so me and the kids would go in the store down the street, and the kids would get bags of chips, and my sons would wear baggy pants, and I had a big purse. And so we would all get all the stuff from the store with the food stamps. And then I put whatever I could put in my purse. The boys would let some of the air out of the chip bags or Dorito bags and squish it in. Uh-oh, was that the thing there?
I didn't hear that. Did it?
I don't know. Let me see. I don't know if it's still going. So the boys would put a hole in the Dorito bag or the chip bag and squeeze the air out so that the bag will be smaller, and they would put it in their pockets, and then we would go into the movie theater and then just have a ball because I couldn't afford the popcorn.
Right.
Right. The popcorn was like $3-4 at that time. And I got 3 kids and then for myself. So that was a bit much. So I did have money, but I was choosing to spend my money in different ways. I would, my kids would go skating and I would give them a little money to go skating. Right. So I was engaged in stinkin thinking, feeling that I didn't have enough when I was actually using money for things that I could enjoy with my kids. Oh, and this is making me think about this one story. I can remember when we first started going to the spiritual group with Aziz, and I was the youngest one of the youngest ones in the group before Betty's kid came in or something. I was the youngest one, and I can remember you all talking about how you were giving. You were so loving and everybody was giving and everybody was talking about giving. And then I was like, I want to give, but here I am on welfare in this group. I'm the youngest one and didn't have anything to give. So I thought, but I wanted to give. Right. And I'm like, I'm trying to take care of my kids, with these, with my welfare stuff. And so I really, really wanted to give because all of y'all were talking about giving. And then one day I was on my way to school because I was going to Mary Grove College working on my bachelor's in psychology at the time. And then I was at this light by the freeway. And then this homeless guy, he was looking all disheveled and everything.
Yes.
He came, he had newspaper in one hand and a squirt bottle in another hand. And then he looked at me and then I was like, no. And then he came over to my car and started squirting the stuff on the windshield. He said, "You asked for this." And then I was like, oh, I really felt that in my heart and soul because I had asked to be more giving. And so he's saying, I asked for this. And I used to keep a little coin thing, in the place where the cup holder goes in the car. I would just have quarters and pennies and nickels and dimes or whatever in there. And so he said, I asked for this and I knew exactly what it was. I knew exactly what he was talking about.
Wow.
And so I just started reaching in there and giving him all of those coins. And I was like, wow, I can give.
Wow. That's beautiful.
Yeah, because I wanted to give because all of you guys were talking about giving. And I was thinking that I didn't have anything to give. And that opportunity showed itself for me to give. And then just like what I was doing with the toothpaste and the deodorant, where I wasn't buying the extra stuff because I was choosing to spend the money over there. So much was a choice, but I wasn't realizing that I was making these choices. So instead, I was just thinking that I'm poor and broke and can't do certain things when actually I did have some money, but I was just choosing to spend it differently.
So you wasn't seeing the prosperity in your life. You wasn't seeing the things that you were able to do and focus on that. Because what you focused on, if you focused on what you had, you would have got more of what you had.
Yeah, but I focused on, like I said, taking the kids to, to the show, and then they went skating and stuff. So I was focused on. Well, I guess
you always found a way.
I always found a way. I was like one of the only parents in the neighborhood that had a car, and my cars would be falling apart. Mufflers would be hanging off, making all kind of noise and everything.
But the belt that held the door together.
The belt that held the door together. It's no heat sometimes, and then be riding around with a comforter in the back seat for my kids to be warm, right? And I would get all these kids from the neighborhood in my car. Everybody would pile up, and we would go to the skating rink. I'd drop them off, and then I would pick them up.
What an awesome memory.
Yep. So that was really important.
And you were giving to all those kids.
Yeah. And I wasn't even looking at that
and
from
kids
that
would
perspective.
come over and eat.
They would come over and eat. Yep. Because kids used to get locked out of the house back in the day. And that's when the neighborhood was a neighborhood. It was the hood, but it was a neighborhood, right? Kids get locked out and I see somebody sitting on the porch, and their mom is at work or whatever the case may be. And they come on over to the house and I always will buy extra packs of ramen noodles and hot dogs with my food stamps. Come on over. Y'all get something to eat. And then they could eat, the ramen noodles and hot dogs. Yep. So they knew that they could always come over. And that was such a beautiful time. Even my kids loved that. Even though it was the hood, they liked it because they have such fond memories because all the moms were like auntie, Kids will come in the house. They don't have to knock. They just come in. Hey, auntie. I'll be like, hey, how you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll go upstairs if they were from my daughter, or go downstairs if they were from my son.
Mm-hmm.
It was a beautiful experience. And then because I was in college, I had the highlighters and staples and copy paper and, the printer and the computer. So then the kids would come over to the house for their school projects to be able to utilize some of the stuff that I had.
Wow. That is good. I mean, you created a sense of community in that neighborhood, because I remember I would come over and the kids would just walk in and you would take them, wherever they needed to go, have fun, to be kids. You allowed your children to be children.
Yeah. Yeah. I even had some of their friends and family members who moved in. So get this, I'm on welfare, getting food stamps, but other kids were coming to live at my house. I just fed them. They came and lived.
Mm-hmm.
Always remember that you will see it when you believe it. When you believe in something, it will show up in your life. If you really, really want something and you focus on it, it will show up in your life. Opportunities for you to experience what you want will present themselves. Pay attention so you can recognize them when they show up. Get ready so you can take full advantage and make the most of that present moment and the momentum that follows. This is your time. Are you ready? Your opportunities are out there. Focus on what you want so they can find you. Focus. 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 Check out Goddess's pocket-sized book entitled The Book of Wisdom. It's a 40-page powerful book of affirmations that will assist you on your journey. Order by email at goddessgoddess@yahoo.com. That's GODDESSGODIS@yahoo.com. Also, my book and workbook are available on Amazon. This powerful duo will help you to reprogram your brain to bring you what you want in life. My book is entitled I Rewired My Brain, My Journey to Freedom. And the workbook is entitled I'm Rewiring My Brain, My Journey to Freedom. Thank you for listening. And if you've liked this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends and family. And if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, then please subscribe so that you can be aware of all of the videos that I've already posted and ones that I will continue to post on how to become the highest version of yourself.